Welcome, everyone. My name is Ashley Koff. I'm a registered dietitian, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Better Nutrition Program. Thank you so much for investing your time with me and with my colleague, which I will introduce, Alexa from Simple Practice, in a little bit today. In this world that is our new norm, I think it's most important that I start off with just a little bit of a lay of the land so that if anything should happen, either if technology should fail us, if you're having any issues with, we were just talking about here, school is out now officially. So I know challenges for those working at home and with families. So if any of those things arise, just know that we are recording this. The recording will be sent to you via email from the Better Nutrition Program in a couple of hours later today. So if you are not able to attend for the duration, or if you want to be able to review, if you have to step away, by all means on that part. Likewise, during this, we are definitely want to have this be interactive. If questions come up, I will do my best to define the lexicon that I'm using. And if any questions come up, please use the questions box. I am navigating both the session and also the questions, so want to make sure that we're not using both the questions and the chat box, just to make it a little bit easier on my end. There will be an offer at the end for those of you that are joining live, as well as an offer that is time sensitive through Friday. So again, if you aren't able to watch live or you're catching this on the recording, please just plan to do so by Friday so that we can help you take most advantage of your time and your resources. Okay. So what I wanted to do today is talk about incorporating nutrition into your psychotherapy practice. This is a labor of love for me. This one is really personal because as a medical professional for the last 22 years, so I've been a dietitian for 22 years, I have been working integratively, collaboratively with psychotherapists, therapists, mental health professionals, and some of my, just the amount of support and value that you all add to my practice, and I hope likewise to my colleagues. And I do want to give a special shout out to my colleague Dr. Maggie Vaughn, who many of you know and who helped me put this together after a discussion about how do we make it easier to incorporate nutrition into your practice. And then, of course, we will be joined, I think many of you saw in the information we sent out, by our colleagues at Simple Practice, who are making it really easy to do all of this better. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and dive in. I've been known to talk quickly, so if there is, if I'm going too quickly, flag me in the questions as well. So what do we all want? No time more than the current environment is this true. We all want better health. If we have it, we want to keep it. If we need it, we're looking for help to get it. I think that's so important. Sometimes as a nutritionist, dietitian, I think, gosh, everybody really wants better nutrition. Not really. What we really want is that better health. And so what we're going to talk about today is how we get it and how we see where our patients are in that space, all within the scope of your practice, as a way to helping them reach that better health goal. So a little bit about me. These are some of the photos of, I've had a great opportunity to do a lot of diverse things as an author, doing media and having conversations with different experts, working collaboratively during the Let's Move campaign with the White House, and just getting to do a lot of different things. But it actually all began for me with those 8 bottles of goat's milk up at the top. So I actually was a child who was always felt that I was healthy, but I had a belly. And over the years, though, that belly really started to bother me. So I took to, dieting and trying different ways on that part. And what I never really was able to put together on my own, nor were subsequently a lot of the healthcare practitioners that I went and saw, was that it actually had to do with my digestive health. Well, things got so bad in my college and post-college time period where I was not sleeping at night, horrible panic attack, literally had to have friends come over to sleep, woke up one night, or didn't really wake up, I was in my kitchen with a knife in my hand thinking somebody was coming in to get me. When I traveled, I had this great career as a young advertising executive, couldn't sleep in hotel rooms, so I was just really subsisting on coffee. Anyway, I went to a lot of healthcare practitioners, including mental health professionals, who would say things, would go through, I did wonderful work there. But nobody ever sort of pinpointed that it was my digestion. And it got so desperate for me. I tried all the things, I'd been taught to do. You go see the doctor, you see the mental health professionals, you go, you exercise, you eat right. So certainly when someone in yoga said that they could help me, and I went over to her apartment in New York City, where it was really dingy and not good. Went in there, she pricked my finger. I think she put my blood work under literally a Fisher Price microscope. I paid her $500. I had no business spending at that time in my life. And she diagnosed me with a worm. And she said, hey, by the way, was life difficult when you were, 15? She's like, I think you've had this worm since then. I'm like, you bet life was difficult, right? Whose life isn't difficult at 15 as a girl, right? Anyway, she told me that the only way to kill this worm was to drink 40 ounces of goat's milk for 7 days. That was the only thing that I could have. Goat's milk was the perfect food, had the perfect ratio of nutrients. And I wanted, absolutely desperate. I followed her so perfectly that I even took the goat's milk with me to my friend's 21st birthday and gave it to the bartender and had him put it in a rocks glass for me and told everybody I was drinking White Russians. He knew I was fully like off the rocker at that point. Is like, what's going on here? But nobody else did, so unbelievably desperate. And I share that because it is so important for us to remember that our clients, our patients, many of you probably have similar stories where things just weren't coming together and we do things out of such desperation. Well, it worked beautifully for me while I was doing it. I felt great. I had a flat belly. I finally, so many things felt really good for me on those 7 days. I even quote unquote saw the worm pass, which she had told me to notice that my stool would, it would pass in my stool. If you're only drinking goat's milk, you're going to see white stool. That's what happened. And I was great until about 3 days after, when all my bloating, all of my issues, when I even looked at food, and certainly when I ate my favorite foods, which included things like broccoli and beans, I just blew up, right? So what ended up happening there was I was like, well, forget it. Like at that point, I've tried everything. So I was a 20-something-year-old. I'm like, I'm going to go back to drinking and being out. And I happened on telling this story, hysterically having everybody laughing at and with me. And I met an integrative gastroenterologist. And that was the first time, long story long there, on how somebody actually started asking me questions about my digestive system. And it was actually at that point that I learned about nutrients that I had not been giving my body, like probiotics, magnesium, gut healing nutrients, glutamine, things like that. And she actually said something really important to me, that it wasn't what I was eating, it was actually that my system didn't have what it needed to run better. That's how I ended up doing what I do today. And I always try to remember that piece so wholeheartedly, because our patients, as I was saying, they can be doing things that we think are crazy, right? Like, why would somebody be thinking it would be okay to have, maple syrup and water and lemon straight for 7 days? But that craziness comes from a desperation of having tried things and not having the right information and not having people and practitioners who are able to put all of this together. So that is my personal story. I'll share it with you because I know that better nutrition will help your clients reach their health goals. But I also believe if you're here, you may not be sure to how to advise them within the scope of your practice. You may currently be using Simple Practice, or you want to, which is awesome. We have a great offer for you, but you want to use it for nutrition recommendations within your scope. You also know how awesome, like I was talking about, that this collaboration, you want to generate referrals from different practitioners. And when you're collaborating with practitioners, you want to easily be able to communicate about your client's nutrition progress, and likewise for them to communicate better with you. And you may want to offer client programs that include nutrition assessment. I was talking to one of your colleagues, a very successful psychiatrist, the other day, and we were talking about the fact that she can't see everyone, like they can't all afford her. She's written a book, she's done all this stuff. And I was like, well, do you have a program? Do you have a virtual program? She didn't at that point. So we talked about it. And one of the things that we'll show you today is that we have ready-made programs available. And that's what we're now working on with her, is to customize the information from her book into a program so that she has another offering. Because you got into what you're doing, not for the money of it. These are businesses businesses, not hobbies, so we do have to make money, and that is a focal point, but you got in this to help people get and keep their better health, and we want to be able to reach those people where they are and with what resources they have available, so it allows us to think about our business in a diversified way. So I want to start off just with the basics of why nutrition within a mental health, when we're thinking about mental health. Well, we know that you literally you can't reach that better health if you don't have mental health. Like, that's where you all come in. And I am so glad to see an ever evolving, especially in this month, but it's an ever evolving awareness. But that connection between mind and body, and more specifically, that connection between things like the microbiome and our better digestion, these things that we can't have that better mental health without, right? So it is important, and for where you and I and my nutrition colleagues align, you cannot have mental health without better digestion, and you can't have mental health without giving the body the nutrients it needs to run better. And by the way, I will offer that you will not get that if better nutrition is not deliciously doable. If it's not delicious and if it's not doable, they're not going to do it more often. And whenever I say they, like those people, I mean us, right? How often have you said to yourself, oh, I totally know that I need to get in more of that magnesium, or it's really important for me to get in these nutrients for my digestion, but it's just not delicious, or it's expensive, or I don't have the time to cook and make it, or even now that I'm home 23 out of 24 hours in the day, it's not easy for me to be doing it. It's not going to happen more often. So that's what we want to work on. So you can't have these things without personalized recommendations. So just like everybody's mental health is every person's mental health. No two people have the same mental health. No two people are experiencing the same things inside them right now. And as a result, every body needs something different, and it needs something different in different moments. So it's essential. This is 2020. It's the era of personalization. We have to be providing personalized recommendations. But the challenge is a lot of the things that are out there that say that they're offering personalized recommendations aren't. You know, your patients may be taking a quiz online and getting sold some vitamins, but is that quiz really asking them about their mental health? Is it asking them about what they actually ate? Are they saying like, hey, if you're a vegan, well, you need B12 and you need calcium? Really? Well, what if my name's Stacy and I'm pregnant and I'm a vegan, or I'm going through menopause and I like to run, and on Tuesdays I'm home, cooking, and on Fridays I used to be going out, right? That's what we need to know about. We've got to have personalized recommendations. And so that is at the core of what I do and what I help practitioners do, because you can't have truly personalized recommendations unless you know someone's total nutrition, what's going in and on their body most often. Food, supplements, skincare, medications. We have to know all of that together, because it isn't their food that will impact their health. It isn't their supplements that will impact their health. It's how the food and the supplements are working, or they're either working together or working against each other, and likewise with skincare and medications. And we need to know about their past medical history. For me, what that integrative practitioner said to me was, were you ever on antibiotics? And I had to laugh. I was like, I was giving them prophylactically as a kid because I ruined so many vacations with ear infections that they were like, let's just give her the antibiotics ahead of time. And, my mom, she'll joke, she'll be like, oh, I know I didn't breastfeed you for long enough. I'm like, no, it was actually the prophylactic use of antibiotics that really messed me up. And she's like, it's good. She's like, we know that now. I can't judge her. We didn't know that then. They thought they were doing, so good by me. But when somebody asks about those things, and when they ask about your current medical history, as you all know, we understand who someone is. We also need to know what their lifestyle is, what their preferences are. If somebody doesn't cook, or if the word cooking sounds intimidating, we need to talk to them the way that I talk to myself about like IKEA style, like some assembly required, right? I'm not going to show you, Instagram photos or big recipes on that part. I'm just going to tell you how you can assemble things from the different things you're getting at the grocery store. Or if you're like, understanding what your lifestyle is like. And certainly what has has changed in your lifestyle as we are right now. So these are the things that we need to know. And what we need to understand is that assessment is within every practitioner's scope of practice. We absolutely, you know this, like you all practice. I mean, of course, like you spend your time asking patients so that you can understand who they are as an individual. We've got to understand what their digestive system is as an individual. We've got to understand what their energy levels are like as an individual, because when we do that, we can come up with a better roadmap and we can help them navigate their way to better health. That's why we need to help them turn on their location settings. So you can, and you should, so you're in the right place if you're wondering about, or if you're already incorporating nutrition, you can and you should meet your client where they are today. And when that comes to nutrition, you know, it's like turning on the location settings, right? Whenever you're trying to get Uber or Lyft or use your GPS, they don't just say like, okay, we'll meet you, you know, we'll come pick you up. It's like, no, before you can even use the app, you have to turn on the location settings. And then they know, hopefully, most of the time it works out, even what corner to pick you up on, right? We need to be able to do the same thing with our patients. And when they drop you off at the mall later on, they're not going to go back to your home to pick you up. They've got to know to come pick you up at the mall. So turning on the location settings needs to happen at every time we connect with a patient and when we reconnect with a patient. But the great opportunity in this, especially as it relates to nutrition, is it allows for ongoing engagement with our patients. So it's very outcomes focused, and it helps us to be able to see what's going on with them on a consistent basis. So how do we do that? Well, as a practitioner, I spent about 20 years asking my clients tons of questions. And what I realized was, number one, if I had all of that information ahead of time, and I was trying to, you know, gather as much information as I could ahead of time, amazing intake forms, right? 10, 15 pages worth of intake forms, would ask all sorts of questions. When we got into the session, I still had to ask additional questions. And ironically, and this is why I care so much, especially about the audience that I'm talking to all of you today, it was about 5 years ago that I started to really scratch my head as I was working on some projects in the digital health space. And I said, you know, there's just got to be an easier way to gather all of this information. And I had worked in magazines when I was earlier in my career, and I loved the magazine quizzes, all right? They looked beautiful, they were fun, they were simple, but we got good information. And at the end, it's probably because I also love horoscopes, you felt like, ooh, like, what does it say about me, right? Everybody loves a quiz and learning that piece. Well, I started to develop the Magnesium Quiz. And the reason I developed the Magnesium Quiz was I was actually invited to give a talk on stress and nutrition and digestion to a group of mental health professionals. And prior to this, I'd been using a version of this quiz in my own practice because I was so frustrated. 70%, just take that number into account right now. So 7 out of 10 American adults, and this was about 10 years ago, and I don't think the numbers are getting better, are not meeting the recommended daily allowance for magnesium. Now, magnesium belongs in all of our cells to turn off the stress response. So without that, we've got problems. It means we cannot reduce anxiety. We cannot go to sleep better. We cannot relax muscles that are required for the body to move our bowels, or to relax muscles so that we have less tension headaches, or to relax muscles so that we recover from sports better. All of these different things, are said differently, when the body doesn't have enough of it, has to choose which of those things it's doing, including regulating our metabolism, regulating our cortisol levels, which will, you know, work on what our hormone response is to stress. And so I sat there and I was like, well, there's got to be a way to figure this out. Let me start ordering blood tests. Well, you know what? No. First of all, most doctors won't order it. It's really expensive. Second of all, it's not actually telling us about, are they getting enough coming into the body? It's just telling us about what's in the blood level, not what's in the tissue level. So I started to keep thinking about, well, how could I find this out? Well, I know. Why don't I ask them about what they're taking in? Well, if I ask them about the foods that contain magnesium, that's really helpful. But did you know when you take in calcium, calcium works in opposition to magnesium? So if I was at home right now, I'd be flexing my muscle. If you could see me, I'd be flexing my muscle for you to see that when you flex your muscle, that's calcium. When you relax your muscle, that's magnesium. most of our patients are staying in a muscle flexed mode throughout the day because we don't have enough magnesium. So what I also had to ask about is, are you taking supplements? Do they include things like calcium? Are you taking in foods that are higher in calcium? You know what I found? Most of my patients were taking in 2 to 3 to 4 times as much calcium as they were magnesium, also because doctors had told many of them, and practitioners, et cetera, had told many of them to take calcium supplements. Well, when I started using this quiz, it made it so easy for them to see. I'm a big believer you do not tell someone what they should be doing and hope that they go about and make that change, especially when it comes to nutrition. You show them what they are doing, you show them what their body's not getting that needs to be better, and then you teach them, you make it deliciously doable for them to do it. So when I get to show them here that they're not getting in dark chocolate, or they're not getting in hemp seeds, or maybe just because of your food choices or your preferences, your lifestyle, you don't eat nuts or seeds, or maybe you're not taking in carbohydrates because you're on a keto diet, that's not up to me to convince you or to change you. Hopefully over time I can help personalize it, but it is going to help me show you, you're going to see that you're not getting in enough magnesium. And then we also ask questions about from a lifestyle standpoint. So I actually was introducing all of this to about 1,000 of your colleagues, and every one of them, I've never had, literally at the Q&A was like, how do we get that quiz that you have? How do we get that quiz that you have? And I'm like under the counter texting the guy that works for me and says, hey, can you put on our website if you'd like this quiz, email me at, or, et cetera. So thus was born the very first tool that we have at the Better Nutrition Program is the magnesium evaluation. Then we came up with a complimentary magnesium menu, which we're going to show you in a little bit. And that helps us all be able to assess and then give deliciously doable recommendations. And guess what? That's all within the scope of your practice. What may not be in the scope of your practice is changing recommendations about dietary supplements, but what you are able to do is if you see somebody and you have a patient who has filled this out and they're showing you and it says, I'm taking this supplement, this supplement, this supplement, first of all, it's great for you to ask if anyone is overseeing those supplement recommendations. And then second of all of our tools come with recommendations from medical practitioners where it is within our scope of practice to comment on if you're taking in this, then maybe you're getting in too much of that. So you can share those recommendations, or you can refer this patient to a colleague who is then going to be able to refer patients to you, and it starts a really collaborative relationship. So we have within our shop of tools, we have over 20 evaluations like this. Things as simple as eating a rainbow, which is one of my favorites right now, just to, there are a lot of people who are in the space where they're suffering from what I call infobesity, which is too much information right now, right? About nutrition, and especially right now, should I be getting in zinc and vitamin D, and what do I do for my immune health? What you do for your immune health is you eat a rainbow and you make sure your digestive system is working better. And everybody here can now evaluate those easily. And when you look at evaluations of things like eating a rainbow, it also takes judgment off of foods. It doesn't mean that kale is better than broccoli, right? It's not. It just means we want you to get in something green. And you know what? If you don't, I had a mom the other day who said, my son will eat carrots and broccoli. And I said, good. Does he eat strawberries? Oh, he loves strawberries. Great. He's getting something red in. What about blackberries? Yup, he's doing great on that. He's got purple in. What about, and we went through and she's like, yeah, but he's only eating carrots and broccoli. I said, no, change that game. He's getting in his rainbow. Let's remove a lot of the judgment and make things easier for people to do better. And also we know in doing that reduces our stress associated, as well as helps people see how their diet is doing. Now you have the ability to do all of that. It's so important that we show people, not tell them what to eat. I see all the time on Instagram, like, oh, hemp seeds, great for you. They've got fiber, they've got protein, they've got manganese, they've got gamma-linoleic fatty acid, that great, hair, skin, and nail. They absolutely do. It's amazing. But that's not what people want. They want to know that, oh my gosh, I can make hemp pesto and it's ridiculously delicious and it's super easy. Or my favorite food group being chocolate, when I upgrade to dark chocolate and I'm not choosing something that's chocolate flavored, I'm actually getting in more of that magnesium. Well, if I'm doing that, maybe I don't have to shell out money for an expensive supplement. Or if I do need that supplement, maybe I use less of it, right? So we offer, in addition to all the assessment tools, are these menus that are 7 days of meals and snacks. I just call them pit stops because I don't even use the word meal or snack. IKEA style, as well as some recipes that show you. And what you can do it just like you do with, I describe it as like what I do with 6-year-olds and 6th graders, where you go through and you say, hey, here's a menu. What on this menu looks delicious to you? What are you interested in eating? Did you know that when you make a simple swap with your oatmeal of adding, walnuts and cacao nibs on top of it, or crumbling up dark chocolate or putting dark chocolate chips on there instead of putting raisins, you're going to way increase your intake of magnesium and essential fatty acids, and you might reduce your overall sugar intake at that moment. And that shift right there is going to help your body respond better to stress. It's going to help us, with all these different, maybe we're dealing with anxiety in the morning, maybe we're dealing all these different things. This is how you show them how they can make those choices. And then when they agree to those and they say, oh, I want to try this, then you can follow up, you can reassess a week later, 6 weeks later. Oh yeah, how are you doing? Well, let's actually see how you're doing on that part. We can move it forward. So how could you work with these assessments? Well, the way that we actually can incorporate better nutrition into our practice as mental health professionals is that we have the ability to share the evaluation with your patients on a regular basis, right? We can go back and forth as I was talking about, but you can actually also share the evaluations with other practitioners. So if you are referring a patient to me, you can show me what your client is doing, and then I also respond back to you. I was actually doing an interview with a phenomenal men's health expert yesterday, Dr. Miles Spar, and he, one of the things I was asking him is, what do you love in a referral, and what would help you get more referrals from, give more referrals to other practitioners? Because it's all about communication. I can't stand it when I refer a patient out and I don't hear back on what's going on. How many times has that happened to you all? If you're like me, a gazillion times. And it's so frustrating because I don't want to make it about my ego, but if I don't know what's going on with my patients and I don't know what they've been told, et cetera, and for you all, if you send them to a nutritionist, you send them to a dietitian, you send them to a health coach, and you don't know what's going on with them in that space, it actually is going to impact your outcomes, right? It's going to make a difference on that part. And so that piece is going to be really important for us to, be able to navigate that referral. We make it super easy, as we'll see in a second when we look at it using the tools in simple practice. But what you've got there is you've got the ability, all of our tools are virtual. They're PDFs that you click on, and then you type it into the notes section. And then you can share that immediately over with the other practitioners. You can also share information with them there about how they can send you other patients, right? So it makes it really easy. And then you can have your patient record, you can work with them to record what's improving so they can see how they're progressing, right? Look at when we first came to see you, when your patient first came to see me, look at what their digestive evaluation was like, or look at what your magnesium intake was like, and now look at what your magnesium intake is like. And oh, by the way, look at your journal, your food mood scores, and let's think about your sleep and how is your sleep doing? And or have you moved it from the daily to the, the often to the never, or have you moved to from the never to the sometimes, right? To see what their progress is. This is going to allow you to monitor so many things very easily and effectively, and for your patient to share it in a way that doesn't feel judgmental, so they can monitor things like mood and energy and sleep, etc. It also allows you to engage with them between sessions. So perhaps you've got a client who is not, doesn't come in either for cost reasons or for just based on your guys' schedule or any of that stuff. But they are coming in maybe every 2 weeks or once a month. Well, between the time period, we have over 40 different guides on topics like adaptogens and CBD and fasting. And these are all developed by different medical practitioners. I vet and review all of them. We update them on an annual basis with things like CBD. Gosh, we're updating it on like a quarterly basis at this point with information changing, but it's so essential because we know things like CBD interact with medications. And so we want to make sure that you're tracking that information. Well, if they send you questions, or if you want to engage them and have conversations between sessions, you can send them evaluations, you can send them menus, super easy to attach, they can fill them out, or it could just be something to read and say, let's go over this from a discussion standpoint when I next see you. This also helps if they send you a quick email and says, hey, I'm thinking about trying CBD, any issues? Well, maybe you don't know all the medications that you need to consider or what those issues might look like. You can read the guide and you can share the guide with them. And that allows you to have this engaged conversation together. And again, it's all within the scope of your practice. You're not the one who is recommending the CBD, but you're definitely keeping them from doing something that could have interference with their medication. And if you're working with another professional and in collaboration, you can also share that information, which again increases your value and that collaboration, everybody's value together, and improves overall outcomes. And then the other thing you can do is you can calendar, so you're managing their expectations. Hey, we're working on your stress and your anxiety. One of the things we saw in the beginning is that your body, we just saw where you currently are today, no judgment, but where you currently are, you're likely getting in less magnesium than your body needs. Let's reassess that after 6 weeks of working on the menu and seeing if if you switched the multivitamin that you were taking because it only had calcium and it didn't have magnesium, and that was based on the recommendations in the evaluation, so you're not outside of your scope, and you're able to share all of that. So that is how we get to those better outcomes with our patients. Now, there's something that makes it even better. The way that your patients, the way that we all need in our lives for nutrition, better nutrition to be personalized, and we need it to be deliciously doable. In our businesses, we need things to be deliciously doable too, right? First of all, virtual practice is here to stay. We have to have our businesses diversified. It's not going to be after COVID, when we're back to whatever that norm, we're not going backwards. We're establishing a new norm. And so we've got to be able to practice virtually. But of course, we have to be HIPAA compliant. Even when the government says, that they're loosening restrictions, et cetera, absolutely how essential it is on an ongoing basis. And we want to be able to engage with our clients between sessions because we know that improves outcomes. And we know when we can personalize that engagement, that's like that Lyft or that Uber example, when we pick them up at the mall when they're done, as opposed to picking them back up at their house and hoping we somehow connect with them, we are able to collaborate so much more effectively and get those better outcomes. So without further ado, I am thrilled. Some of you have already reached out and said that you have Simple Practice, and I'm so excited to show you some additional features that you're able to use within Simple Practice, and to introduce my colleague, Alexa McLaughlin, a registered dietitian who is the product specialist at Simple Practice, and she is going to take us through so you can see how we can incorporate all of this into your practice using Simple Practice. So let me switch over here. Oh, you know what happened? Hang on one second.
I can introduce myself again. I know Ashley just did very graciously. But yeah, this is a great opportunity for me to show you guys my test account and give you a little demo of just how easily Simple Practice can make this process for you. To utilize these tools and communicate with your clients, documentation, all of that great stuff. Alrighty. So as Ashley said, I am a registered dietitian nutritionist at Simple Practice. I primarily work with dietitians and group practices, but I am a product specialist, so I can tell you pretty much everything you need to know about managing your Simple Practice account. So our goal at Simple Practice within our customer success team, which is what I'm a part of, is to support our health and wellness professionals as they utilize our platform to manage their clients' care in both a secure and also an intuitive way. Simple Practice empowers clinicians to run their businesses more efficiently. You can streamline your administrative tasks, and that enables you to regulate your compliance as well as improving the process of your documentation, those workflows. As one of the most innovative practice management softwares available, Simple Practice offers features like paperless intakes, automated billing, free unlimited clients, fully HIPAA compliant client communication, and that is a lot of what we're going to touch on today. And so, as you guys can see, when you first log into your Simple Practice account, you arrive onto the calendar homepage, and this of course is where you can easily manage your client appointments. This is also where you would be able to easily add in your clients. So whether you are coming from another EHR or you're coming from pen and paper maybe, the process is very simple to get your clients into the system. Now you can go ahead and create your clients manually. Creating a client file is just filling out some of this preliminary demographic information and saving it, and then the client is then added to your client list over here. But we also have a switching team here that allows you to collaborate with them and helps with that data import process. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started with taking a look at the account settings. So we'll kind of bypass and just go through like my general clients. And when we get into the settings here, of course, when you first create your account, you're going to want to fill out all of the important details such as your clinical information, schedule a telehealth appointment. Another thing that you'll want to do when you're first setting up your account is to come into your billing and services and let us know which services you're offering. You can choose from, pretty much any CPT code when you add a new service in here. And we support a lot of different specialties beyond the behavioral health field as well. So you can see I have some typical psychotherapy CPT codes, as well as some dietitian MNT codes, medical nutrition therapy codes as well. But yeah, it's a very easy process to set those in place. And then of course you can set your rate. You can indicate when these would be available for online booking for your clients to actually book them instead of you manually scheduling the appointment. And then I also have my account set up as a group practice, so you can specify which of your clinicians should have access to offer these services. So once you basically have all of these areas set in place, I wanted to give you guys a close look at our client portal. So this is the best way that you can communicate with your clients in between sessions and share documents with them, which is what we're going to go over today. So you can change your client portal URL to whatever you would like. And then once it's set up, you just click View Client Portal to go into the main landing page. And what I've done here is I've actually logged in as one of my demo clients, Jamie Appleseed. And so Jamie is all set up here. And what I wanted to point out right now is the secure messaging feature here. So it's a little message icon. And you can see as Jamie, we've had a little bit of correspondence back and forth here. But I let my clinician know as Jamie that I've been feeling a little bit stressed. And so as the clinician, if we come back in here, you can see that my message icon lets me know that I have a new message. And I can see, okay, maybe I need to go in and take a look at Jamie's file. So I'll go back into my calendar. Jamie happens to be in my recently viewed list, but I can also search for a client here. When I open Jamie's file, it takes me to his overview page. So you see a list of all of the appointments that have already been placed on the calendar in the past for Jamie. And you can easily come in here and document what has occurred in those sessions. We have various progress note templates that you can utilize and set up and customize. So this process of documenting is very streamlined. You just go ahead and save it here. You can attach documents. You can print it out or export it as a PDF should you need to. And then when you are totally ready to lock the note and save it as part of the client's medical record, easily come in there to do that. So very easy process to document.
We were just getting some questions. I just want to interrupt on that part as you're showing it. So this is exactly where you would be able to attach any of the tools that we were talking about. So let's say that somebody is, you've had a conversation with them and maybe they're saying, I'm just, you know, like somebody might even reach out and say, I'm so stressed, I was Googling it, what do you think about magnesium? Well, why don't you fill out this quiz and then we can see how your intake is, because I don't want you to just take a supplement of magnesium because there are things that, you know, can impact it. Or likewise, you'd be able to attach a menu here. And then additionally, maybe somebody is asking you questions about adaptogens. You know, maybe they're saying like, hey, what do you think about me, you know, taking ashwagandha or taking one of these, you know, have you heard anything about reishi or, you know, any of those pieces? You could actually attach the guide there, which is going to give you, allow them to read it. And then you can even send them a message and be able to say, you know, hey, after you've read it, then let's plan to have that discussion, or here are a couple of things I want you to think about when you're reading it. Or as I mentioned before with the CBD guide, really glad that you reached out, because did you know that CBD interacts with over 60% of medications, including over-the-counters like Tylenol? So if that is the case, it's not a yes or a no for you, it's a let's do your assessment first. I'm going to attach this for you to review, and then we can have that discussion when you come in for our session. That's how you, we are getting to that point. We were getting a couple of questions about that, Alexis. I just wanted to pop in on that piece.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I do want to clarify the attachment within a progress note isn't necessarily going to be viewed by the client in this section. This is just purely if you wanted to. No worries. We're jumping into the nitty-gritty of how to share with clients, but within a progress note itself, this is just intended to be for your documentation as a clinician if you needed to attach that file. But if we wanted to go ahead and send it to Jamie, we would actually navigate into their file. And then actually on a practice level, which I think is what most of you guys would end up doing here, when you have purchased these really helpful tools, you would probably want to include this within your account settings so that you could share with not only Jamie, but any of your clients, right? So it's very easy to incorporate these tools into your account settings so that you're able to share with all of your clients. So I'm simply just...
I'm going to move us forward too, because we're getting questions that are coming in, which is great. You guys are, you're taking us exactly on the path that we wanted to go on. So someone saw that we had the free rainbow evaluation and they're asking, where do they find that? So one of the things that we've done in collaboration with Simple Practice, so that you guys can all see the actual tools and start using them, is that we have actually uploaded with Simple Practice as a free tool for all of you, the rainbow evaluation. And I'll let Alexa take you through what you're showing here and then where that rainbow evaluation is in the templates.
Yeah, so I was just uploading here the magnesium general evaluation as well as the menu, and I'll show you guys how to share that with Jamie. But as Ashley was saying, we actually already have the rainbow evaluation within our template library. So if you come into Notes and Forms, this is your personal library of your progress note templates, as well as the intake forms that you would send for your clients to fill out through their client portal. But if we head over to our general template library, this is where the Rainbow Nutrition Assessment is going to be within the intake forms section here. So you would come in here and find it and just click the add button. And when you do that, it actually populates right over into your personal library. You can then go into edit mode on the form and customize it if you wanted to, but I've read through the rainbow evaluation and it's very thorough, so you probably won't even need to edit it, but yeah, that is where that will live. So now that we have the magnesium evaluation and the menu uploaded into our settings, I want to go back into Jamie's file. And sharing documents with clients is just as simple as clicking this share button up at the top right. So in this example, I've already shared quite a few documents with Jamie. And so some of these are already checked off and they're waiting for Jamie to fill them out or review them or sign them. So that is why they're already checked off here. But if we scroll down into the uploaded files section, this is where I can go ahead and send both of the documents that I just uploaded into the settings. And then you're able to customize, since the client receives an email notification letting them know that you're sharing new documents with them, you can go ahead and customize this message if you want to, and they will have a link to click right into their portal to sign in within that email message. So it's all very convenient for them. And we're just confirming that we want to send these two documents. And so we'll share and send now. Perfect. So now what I want to do, Jamie just received the email notification that I shared a new document with them. So I'm going to refresh my page here. And you can see that they show up in bold saying that I need to still complete these and I haven't looked at them yet. And so from here, we'll go ahead and download this PDF.
To see my favorite tool, everybody, the magnesium evaluation.
Exactly. So it shows up as the easy to fill out PDF that Ashley was speaking about. I can just go ahead and check off everything that applies to me as Jamie. I can go ahead and just review my answers and everything like that.
Yeah, Alexa, if you can pause for 1 second, because we are getting questions about the recommendation section. So if you can go, so basically what you would have, because some of you are asking, you know, within your scope of practice, you've got they fill out the answers. And then if you go, each of these, we have two different sets. We have one set that includes recommendations and one set that just has a note section, and it wouldn't include these. But this actually allows your patient to go through and read recommendations that myself and other practitioners, where it is within our scope, would be providing that information. And then you can go through with them and say, hey, based on your results, oh, it's interesting, it says this here, it says this. Wow, we just noticed that actually you're doing pretty well with your magnesium intake. It might be that you've got this calcium going on over there. I know your chiropractor or your dietitian or whoever you were saying, you know, recommended you take it, or your doctor did. I'd like to share this with them. Would you be open to that? You know, and saying if it, you know, that you could share it, or you can then give them that recommendation to have that conversation, or you can facilitate that conversation. So what you wouldn't be doing, to stay within your scope of practice, is you wouldn't be telling somebody to stop their calcium evaluation, to stop their calcium supplement, but you do have recommendations, and then you have a ton of recommendations here within the food part, right? Because what you can do is you can go up and say, well, if you're only getting in about, you know, 3 or 4 of these servings, we're not really hitting at minimum the recommended daily allowance, which is what, you know, the government provides. So let's see, what do you think about any of these foods that are on this menu? And we'd be able to go over it that way. So I hope that answers.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to go back into the client portal here. And I just went ahead and saved that PDF that I was working on. And so when
Go back. Oh, sorry. We're getting to, someone is asking, we're kind of moving, I think, into Q&A here, but I just want to make sure. So they're saying they're not seeing the rainbow evaluation on the practitioner side. So can you pop over to the practitioner side and just show them? I think we went through quickly where they would find it, but I just want to make sure that they can see it.
Yeah, so it actually is not going to be showing up in my account just because I don't have a production account. But If you currently have a Simple Practice account and you're not quite able to find it, I'll just go ahead and review exactly where it should be. So under My Account, Settings, Notes and Forms, Template Library, it should be showing up under the Intake Forms section here. But like I said, it's not going to be in my training account here. But if you're still having trouble finding that, please do write into us. You can go to support.simplepractice.com and easily just get in touch with the customer success team, and we'll make sure that you're able to find that tool. Cool. So I just wanted to show you guys how easy it is for your clients to go ahead and upload their completed evaluation tool. So they'll just come into the My Uploads section of the Documents tab and go ahead and upload it. I have this one saved as the completed one. And then now that it's uploaded, when I come back into Jamie's file here, you can easily go ahead and open up that completed form so that you can review it with Jamie in session the next time that they come in. And it shows up right here under Client Uploads, and you can view it there.
Awesome.
So I know we are running a little bit lower on time, but since I promised you guys, I wanted to show you how easy it is to schedule your telehealth appointments. It's just as simple as enabling telehealth within your settings, and that automatically has that video office location that I showed you. And so you'll just simply come over and click on the day and general time that you would want to schedule the appointment. You would assign your client, let's say Claire, and you can set the default clinician, or if you're a solo practitioner, it will show up with your information. You can set up a default service for your client too, so that it automatically shows up as your most used service. But of course, your entire practice services list shows up here. You can adjust the duration, and most importantly, you will select the video office. And once that is all set up, you just click Done. And for your telehealth appointments, it shows up with a little video icon here. And once that's created, when it is time for the appointment to start, all you need to do is click Start Video Appointment, which opens up a new tab, and it will connect you to your client. Hi, everybody.
Awesome. Hey, so I'm going to switch this out because we've got a bunch of questions. So I want to make sure we get into the Q&A, which is awesome. On that, I love what we just were able to see here. So let me come over here. And, oh, I might need you to just switch it back for me, Alexa.
Sure.
Great. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Okay, so we got so much covered there. I'm going to take us through the remaining slides, and then we're going to go into all of your questions, many of them to do with what we just saw. So Alexa and I will both be here for the Q&A piece on that part. So the idea is, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how you have a conversation with your patients. I know that piece came up around nutrition. So let me get to our Q&A. So just to recap, and here's where we think I always like to have in any session with my patients, I like to have one, if not two plan betters. We'll play on the plan B there, but we've got that part. So keep in mind, you can and should assess nutrition as part of your practice. It is the win-win. It's better for them when you show them how they can meet their needs and start to meet their needs. And then in that way, how you can also teach them the connection, and they can learn the connection between how they feel and act and their nutrition. It also helps you to weigh in on avoiding interactions with medications. That's something our tools are really helpful for, because a lot of foods don't interact with medications. Some do, but a lot of dietary supplements can interact. And I keep mentioning CBD just because it's on the brain in terms of how many interactions. But it's also much better for you when you're doing this because it gives you a more complete patient profile. It allows you to quarterback and be an integral part of their care with their other practitioners. And it also allows you to show other practitioners your total health approach, right? Which is going to help with those collaborations on that piece as well. And when you use the Better Nutrition Program, our shop of tools, or any of our individual tools in Simple Practice, it makes it so easy to assess, create, implement those personalized recommendations within the scope of your practice. And I know several of you have questions on that part, so I am going to get there. We are going to send you an email on this, so you don't need to go, I don't need to go through it dramatically here, but one of the things that we offer at the Better Nutrition Program are monthly programs for practitioners and their clients. So in June, our program is on stress management, and it's teaching individuals and practitioners how to assess the body to make sure that it is getting the nutrients that it needs to manage the stress response better. Because actually turning off stress is not what we're talking about. Stress is going to happen. How do we help the body adjust to it better? So we will have a bonus offer for you as it relates to that in your emails. We also have an incredible bonus that is coming in with your code. We have the free rainbow evaluation, which we're going to make sure everybody can find. We'll go over that in a second, as well as a 30-day free trial. If you are not currently using Simple Practice, why not get started right now? It's going to help you make all of this so much easier, as we were as you were able to see. And I do also have the ability to talk with you about your specific business and how we can work on the tool. So I actually handle all of our discovery calls. So you can set up a time. This is all coming to you in your email. If you want to jot down right now or send a text message, to the number 44222, you can text the word Talk Better. Otherwise, email us at the hello, or just wait for the email that is coming to you with your recording, and you will get that information as well. And here's everything that we offer in the bigger, which is our larger program, which is the shop of tools from the Better Nutrition Program. Also, what will be in there, the ability to watch and just see some, from a video standpoint, just some of the ways that you use these tools. Oh, and we don't want to do that. I did want to show you the difference. I mentioned that there are two forms within our shop of tools. You have the recommendation, the answer key, which we were just talking about, and then also the notes section. And this is all editable, as you were hearing from, and actually you were seeing from what Alexa was sharing with you as well. Okay, so Speedy Gonzalez through that. I want to move into the Q&A. So I will get started with some of these. And Alexa, I'll just give you a shout out for the ones that we need some input on that part as well. So I think that some people were still having a little bit of difficulty finding the rainbow evaluation. You can email either us and we'll connect you with Alexa, or the support.simplepractice.com. Is that correct, Alexa, in terms of what they should do? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. So that directs you to our help center, support.simplepractice.com. And there is a little icon at the bottom of that page for you to get in contact with our customer success team.
Great. And I do believe it's called on there, Eat a Rainbow. So you might not see, a lot of times we have our tools where it says the Better Nutrition Program Rainbow Evaluation, or the Rainbow Evaluation. I believe it's called Eat a Rainbow, and that might be why, if you're looking under R, it might be under E. Somebody shared that in here, so I appreciate that help on that part. So Julianne has a question. How do we as mental health workers bridge important conversations about nutrition? Thank you so much for asking this question. I think this is really the starting point where we want to have a question today, which is, I think it's really, I would do it very similar to the way that I was sharing the information at the beginning. We all want better health, and we know that how our body is running is going to and if our body has what it needs, or if our body's like really busy, like fighting, or it just got too much stuff going on, or just things aren't processing well, etc. It's really hard to have mental clarity, to reduce anxiety, to address stress, to do any of the things that somebody would be coming to work with you on, especially foundationally, if the digestive system isn't working better, if the body doesn't have the nutrients that it needs. Because it's like any of us, if we have way too many things on our plate, we have to pick and choose. And what the body may not pick and choose is turning off the stress response or helping us sleep better. So I think having the conversation that way would be really valuable, that while you are not a nutrition professional, you know how important better nutrition is to achieving better health. And so it's something that you like to explore and work with them on from an assessment standpoint, and then as appropriate to make those recommendations, so you can collaborate with your other colleagues, or that you're going to share information from colleagues, right? And that is another way to be sharing the information from our tools on that part. So in your program, Karen was saying, or Karina was saying, and specifically advised not to talk about supplements or vitamins with client because it borders on medical advice. Absolutely, but here's the issue. If you don't talk about it at all, you actually can be ignoring something or not learning, not intentionally, but not learning about something that is totally affecting your outcomes. So I don't want to advise against something different. I think it's really important. What I think they're saying here is you're specifically not making any recommendations about supplements, but you definitely need to know if somebody is taking things in. Look, I had a patient who came to me about high blood pressure, and obviously I'm a dietitian, so I do want to separate that piece. But they had, unbeknownst to their heart doctor and to their general doctor, they had, called a chiropractor when they got back from traveling to an adjustment because their back was really bothering them. The chiropractor had put her on a fiber supplement. The fiber supplement had an ingredient in there that was increasing blood pressure, and she was just about to go on 2 blood pressure medications, and I wouldn't have known that without the assessment. And so yes, the assessment there is within all of our scope of practice. At that point, it wouldn't be to you to say, hey, I want you off this fiber supplement, or I want you on or off this CBD supplement, or any of those pieces, but the awareness allows you to be in an engaged conversation where you can say to their other practitioner, look, I'm noticing something that's happening. I will give my own personal experience because I shared it in the beginning. Being on birth control was actually what was the final straw, what was really triggering my anxiety and my issues that I was having because of, yes, I had that underlying digestive issues, but it was also the birth control. Well, at the time, my mental health professional did not ask about that. If we had talked about that, I learned about that from a friend, right? So today we're empowered as professionals to ask about those things. It's not in your scope to say, it's not in my scope to say, go off that medication, but it is in my scope to say, I'd like to have a conversation with your doctor, or I'd like to acknowledge this because this is actually affecting the outcomes and the work we're trying to do together, or it could be. And I think when we couch it that way, it allows you to also introduce the information to your colleague, the other practitioner that's working with that individual, in a way that isn't doesn't make them look, as Dr. Spar said the other day, doesn't make me look stupid for not knowing something, or that somebody doesn't agree with me or any of that stuff. We're having these conversations. Stacy is asking, can we share this document straight from the templates, or do we always have the extra step of adding it to the client portal before sending it? Great question. So there are 3 things, and then I'll have Alexa join in. So one, the virtual one that's in there, you can just use within your portal. We offer the PDFs as available options for you to be able to send. We also allow you, when you purchase our tools, to go ahead and upload them. And Alexa or someone at Simple Practice can show you if you want to upload the magnesium evaluation, so it's one that you have as one of your personal tools, so that you're not sending a PDF and they can do this completely virtual. You absolutely can do that piece. Did I miss anything in that part, Alexa?
No, yeah, I mean, we went over how to upload it into your practice settings for use to send to any client, and then from there you would just need to navigate into the particular client's file whom you wanted to share the tool with, and send it through the client portal.
Yeah, and then they can also actually edit and put one of those documents in, like for the ones that are not going to be the read only, they can actually create the document in the evaluation in their tools. Like it could be their own tool in there, so it would stay virtual in that way. Okay, and a couple of you, I hope everyone's finding the Eat a Rainbow is what it's called, Eat a Rainbow evaluation.
Yep, I can confirm that's the title.
Yes, okay, great. And the form is available for clients to fill out without printing and uploading. Absolutely, for that particular one and for any of the other ones that you would purchase. One of the benefits of participating in our program, if you decide to do the chill pill, so you can learn about how to take a nutritional approach to working on your clients' stress response, is you actually get the tools as part of participating in that 30-day program. It's just 4 sessions, so don't worry, it's not a lot of time, but you also get those tools from there. So you have all of those tools available. Okay, do I need to share a link each session? You do not need to. It would be in there. Ashley, you can contact me. You can contact me at team@thebetternutrition.program, which is on the screen right now. You can also contact my customer service team at hello@thebetternutrition.program. They all get to me, and they will on that part, so no worries. And I'm going through super fast. Thank you guys for staying on a little bit longer. Does the client receive a reminder for telehealth if it's set up? Alexa?
Customize whether you would like them to receive the reminders via text, via email, or telephone reminders as well. But we recommend email reminders specifically for telehealth sessions because they can receive the link to join the video directly from their email.
Awesome. I hope, Abby, if you have not found it, we will get it to you. Nutritional assessment is part or supplemental cost in SP.
So I believe that is asking specifically about the Better Nutrition tools that would be purchased through the Better Nutrition program, but any of the templates that we have available for intake forms and progress notes within our template library, that comes at no charge to you. It is only available to customize your progress note templates and edit them if you are on our professional plan, which is $59 per month. We do have an essential plan at $39, but it does come with some limitations, such as customizing those progress note templates, and telehealth is not available on the essential plan. So I would definitely, during these times, recommend the professional.
And Abby, thank you so much. Why are their forms so pretty? Is there a way they will look so pretty to clients? So that was actually something that I learned. We have invested a lot in developing all of our tools. That's actually why I continue to use the PDFs as opposed to using the virtual, because I get all the time from clients, and we get this feedback. They loved how pretty they are. Like, they love getting them, they fill them out, etc. on that part. There are ways to add your information to them, but ours are designed to be pretty like that. So we can go into further. What I will also answer, and I'm sorry, Dr. Aku, I think I lost you with timing, but I will, if you are, I'll just send this out to everyone. So you can also, this was on the other page, but I do want to just send it to you. If you want to set up a specific question about the investment, like what might be better for your business and what the investment costs are for that individual, you can set up a discovery call. So I'll just send that to you. That's that. Great, thank you so much. Okay, great. It sounds like people are finding it. Is the magnesium evaluation there? It is not, Mark. Thank you, it is my favorite, I love it. The individual evaluations are still for sale. They will not be for sale as individual after July, but they are still for sale, so you can purchase an individual. You can also purchase them as part of a package. So we have our stress package, and those are the tools that we actually use for the Chill Pill program that's coming up. And then the shop of tools allows you to get, it's a one-time purchase to get all of the tools and all of the programs. And that's something that we can also discuss by setting up a call on that part. Everyone, thank you so much I know we went over by about 8 minutes. Thank you, you guys had amazing questions on that part. Thank you so much, Alexa and Simple Practice, because this really, as we said, virtual is here to stay, and you are enabling us to do virtual practice better. So we love that piece, like we're able to be doing that better. And that the ability to have all these different ways that we can connect and engage with our patients around doing the assessment so that we can then start to figure out, is it going to be a referral? Is it going to be something that's within your scope to have that conversation? Is it going to be something you put on their to-do list? And also, by the way, are you going to be able to tell them something that they're doing that is already better and awesome and that they don't have to focus on? That would be great, you know, for as we're juggling so many different things. So really appreciate all of you attending. Just note, in a couple of hours, you will get an email with a recording, because I know we went through it really quickly and I pushed Alexa even faster with the visual on that part so that we could stay on time. So you'll be able to get that. You'll see all of it. And if you have any additional questions, you'll also have the customer service information in there. For those of you that are not already using Simple Practice, we have that 30-day free trial. And as Alexa said too, there is that base there. The next level, the entry level, has the virtual health, and that is one that I would highly recommend at this point, so that you're able to do have that diversified business on that part. So thanks everyone for sharing a little over an hour of your time with us today. Really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch. And if you need anything, head to team@thebetternutritionprogram.com. Alexa, was there anything you wanted to share in concluding?
No, I just thank you all for your time. And Ashley, this was a great way to communicate how our tools work so well together. And if you do have any additional questions, please head over to our website. Even if you haven't started a trial yet, if you're already in trial, we have a lot of online resources. We have video trainings. And like I said, you can get in touch with us through the Help Center at support.simplepractice.com to speak with a product specialist should you need that. So we're always there to support you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. Take care.